So it appears York County has a major transparency problem, not just on one front, from several fronts, but what really is deeply concerning to me is this most recent article. I don't know if you've seen it yet, where the Maine Monitor, a news organization, is suing York County government to access jail records. In particular, accessing what should normally be publicly accessible records, public information. Apparently, they've made several attempts over many months to obtain this information through the normal channels and the normal process, and they've been denied. Reporters have been denied access to public information. And why this is important, it's important on a couple different fronts, but one, we want to know whether or not there's been basically government surveillance of what you and I might consider to be privileged conversations between a defense lawyer or a lawyer and their client in a jail. I mean, that is, personal liberty 101. That is ensuring that individuals have access to, again, sort of this idea of attorney-client privilege. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be a lawyer. But under normal circumstances, it makes sense for those conversations to be private. But beyond that, we could have a conversation and a debate whether or not those conversations should be private. Is it a constitutional right? Is it not? Is it something that should be protected? We could have that debate from a policy or a legal standpoint, but you have to have the facts. And when government is withholding whether or not they're doing a particular action, like surveillance or recording what most folks would consider to be private conversations, that's a problem. News organizations, the Maine Monitor included, should not have to sue in order to get public information. Now, as many of you know, I was recently appointed by the Senate President Troy Jackson, to the Maine Right to Know Advisory Committee. This is a committee that's designated to advise the legislature and the judiciary and local municipalities around our freedom of access laws, the laws that enable the public and journalists and reporters to be able to get information about what is happening with their government, right? Governmental institutions. And so it deeply troubles me that on one front we have York County government denying reporters access to that information, reporters having to sue to get that information. It brings to light, questions about, is there something that they're doing that they're not supposed to be doing? I mean, it raises those questions even if they have nothing to hide. But by shielding publicly accessible information from the public, it starts to raise very critical questions about government transparency, governmental accountability, and just normal government functions if we can't have access to public information. But on the other side of the equation, I'm also upset that we're not hearing more from our elected officials about this problem. If it wasn't for stumbling upon this article, I wouldn't have even known about it. Where are our county commissioners? These are the individuals that we elect to represent us in county government, not heard one word about this issue or hardly any other issue for that matter. I want to see our county commissioners visible in the communities that they represent. I want to get updates about what is happening in county government. And at a bare minimum, if there's a scandal like this, I want some answers. They're the ones that are supposed to be providing oversight to our jails. They're the ones that hold the keys to these decision making at the county government, and yet we don't hear a peep from them. That is a problem. I want our county commissioners out front on this. I want answers as to why they're withholding, the county government is withholding public information. And I want to know what county commissioners are going to do about it. I want them to be calling a meeting and providing some level of oversight. As the former chairman of the Government Oversight Committee at the state level, I mean, the first thing would have been to call an emergency meeting and a get-together to talk about why this is happening. That hasn't happened. I haven't seen any information about it. No social media posts, no email newsletters, nothing. And to me, that feeds into a much larger narrative of some of the problems that we see in county government, where we don't hear about what is happening. And it starts with who we send to county government to represent us. We need to expect more. We deserve more in county government. And it starts with our county commissioners. So I really hope we start getting answers to this. This is unacceptable. And I'm going to be following this very closely. And if I get any updates, I'll pass them along, which is exactly what our county commissioners should be doing.